Jake, pretty ideal day for the Yankees. 8-4 win over a faceless St. Louis Cardinals group. It's a sweep, and this is the first time in a while the Yankees just did their jobs. They went out there and beat a honestly, I would just say this is a bad baseball team with no direction. They did what they were supposed to do. And if you guys are joining us for the first time at Yankees Unloaded, be sure to subscribe. We're giving away a Yankees jersey of your choice at 10,000 subscribers. We're about 400 away, Jake, roughly. So we're getting close. And ironically, JoJo Romero today was the losing pitcher. And that was an arm. Jake, I think you and I kind of agreed. We might dabble with this guy. And we didn't get him. But he helped us today. So there you go. It ended up working out.
We knew
no Giancarlo Stanton. And I guess he's in hospice care after 18 innings of right field. We have no idea. We're wishing him the best physically. He did pinch hit today, so that's good. But he's just not physically ready to play. We're shocked by that. We're not shocked, but you'd think everything looked fine out there physically, and then he's not out there on the field. Maybe it was because it was a hot day. I have no idea. Cody Bellinger returned to the field. That's the good news. 0 for 4 on the day. Jake, I know you didn't agree with one of the rulings there, and we'll talk about that. But he found a way to drive in too, so he had some value. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but Anthony Volpe had a day off. Can you believe it, Jake?
He's had like 50 straight games played.
It's ridiculous. In a little double whammy action, by the way, because we have the day off tomorrow, for those of you who didn't know. And, of course, we're going to go play Tampa in that 2-game set, and then it's for all the marbles, right? We're going to go play the Boston Red Sox, so we'll discuss that. And I want to obviously give Volpe credit because since the break, he's found ways to improve, since what he was doing before, right? The glove's been better, Jake, you talked about it, and we've sort of we dove into the details there. But he's also hitting clutch home runs. He's basically a clutch home run hitter. That's who he is. But also his last 22 at-bats, he's 3 for 22. His slugging, 318. He needed a day, and also you saw Caballero today, and he's a really good athlete. Jake, just before we went live, you were really raving about how he's looked since we acquired this player, and I couldn't have loved watching him today any more than I did. Paul Goldschmidt returns to St. Louis. The big deal for him has been slugging. Well, he had 2 doubles today, obviously. Wasn't a problem today. Jason Dominguez, back-to-back multi-hit days. It's the only reason he's out there is to hit the baseball. So when he does it, we should talk about it. He did that today. Jazz, Ofer, still found a way, right? Stole bases number 20, 21. And last but not least, Jake, Will Warren. Again, no length from a starting pitcher. I know he hasn't been the problem all year. He hasn't. 4 2/3, 6 hits, 1 earned, 1 walk, 3 Ks. But here's the great news for the Yankees, and that sort of leads us to this prompt. The Blue Jays lose 10-4 to Texas. Merriam's Marlins beat Boston 5-3. Seattle loses 7-3 to the Mets. So the Yankees now are officially 5 full games back, and with some momentum moving forward to Toronto. A mediocre Tampa team they stare us straight in the face. And then the real test, right? I see people in the comments, it doesn't matter because they still got to go play Boston. That's the real test, Jake. So obviously it's physically possible for them to win the division. I think everyone knows when you're looking at August 17th and you're down 5 games, you have a shot. Do the Yankees have enough momentum to do this?
Yeah, I think they do. And like I said, I think they needed to sweep the Twins or they needed to sweep the Cardinals, but one way or another, they need to win 5 of the next 6 games, and they did. And now they need to sweep the Rays, their dimensions. It's the same exact, as Yankee Stadium, right? And sweep the Rays in a 2-game series coming off essentially an off day on Monday. And then they got a 4-game set against the Red Sox that's going to take us all across the rest of the weekend. And I'll tell you right now, this is a huge series because I really feel like this is their season. If they get swept, all of their momentum gets killed. Done. Gone. If they split, that's a win for me. They have proven, even when they were better than they are now, like they didn't go on that run of losing. Going into that game, like they proved that the Red Sox just have their number. So if they're able to at least split in that series and the Red Sox have some good pitchers, of course, we're going to be, seeing their top guys, but that's my thing, right? And I think they can split the series. I don't think they're going to win 3 out of 4, but I think they can win 2 out of 4. I do.
Why don't you think they can go win 3 of 4, would you say? And I'm not telling you, mind you, I'm not even trying to play devil's advocate here. I'm just curious because your expectations are if we go split, and isn't Boston coming to New York, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah.
So we have a series with the Boston Red Sox, who are a good, not great team. I think we can all admit they're a good team. And we can't have the expectation to win the series. We're looking for a split. And I would agree with you. I think a split would be much better than what some people's expectations are of this team. But is it fair to say that we need more than a split in this situation, given the circumstances?
I don't necessarily think they need more than a split. I don't.
Okay.
I think they need a split. I think you want more than a split for sure. Like, I'll take 3 or 4 games, absolutely. But the 4-game series, that's a hard, thing to come by, right? You got Heel on the mound against Giolito. That should be interesting. Giolito, he is this year having a pretty solid year, right?
He's better than what people think. He had a little bit of a, right, he was here, and then it had a little bit of a dip there.
Yeah.
But he's since recovered it. I think that game's going to be tough. It's going to be a great game. I would agree.
That's going to be a really close game. That's on Thursday on Fox. Night game.
Perfect.
That'll be close. I think that comes down to the wire. Game 2 scares the shit out of me because Brian Bello is a good pitcher in this league, and Max Fried, the fact that he's still not on IL is concerning. He should not pitch that game. You know who should pitch that game? ERC. Elmer Rodriguez Cruz against his former team. Do it. Yankees, you don't have the balls to do it, so I'll move on.
I saw a lot of his name, by the way, when we asked people to drop a comment. I saw his name quite a bit. And it's because he's putting together the numbers, and pitching in the minor leagues is still the minor leagues. It doesn't validate you, but is it better? Is what ERC, is what he's doing, is that going to be better? Is it going to give the Yankees a better chance than whatever today's version of Max Fried is in this Boston series? Because these are big games. And Jake, I think the first thing you talked about when it came to Max Fried was how he pitches in big games. It's not good. He doesn't pitch well in September. He doesn't pitch well in October, right? And that's really where you make your bread in New York, is what you do when it really matters. And so I just think it seems so counterintuitive to kind of push him through in this series. And I'll tell you right now, Max Fried pitching, and it could go well, certainly, but it would be really an outlier performance of the past several weeks. So not what you want to hear. Scott Ross with the super. I think this is a good bit of information. Scott, thank you for bringing this to our attention. Appreciate the 5. Thank you for investing in our channel. Greatly appreciate it. Says John Boy had a great stat. He mentions that 76 MLB outfielders have played 500 plus innings, and one player left their feet 0 times the entire season. And that is none other than what we would call one of the most athletic players, not just on this team, but in Major League Baseball. And yet he doesn't look very athletic. According to you, Jake, I mean, Jake, you were saying you'd think he would look much better and more fluid in the outfield. He's left his feet 0 times this year. No other player's done that. What do you think about this? Do you think it tells the story of how little he has of confidence, or do you think this is just skill? What do you think this is?
Yeah, the way I see it when it comes to Dominguez is it's just a lack of comfortability. It's no different, and I think I brought this up the last time, okay? But it's no different than the idea when you have a player that runs a 4.2 40 time, and then they don't play at that speed on the football field, right? Or
game speed.
Yeah, we talk about game speed all the time. It's like it tells me you're thinking too much, you're not confident. That's the thing. Like, you look at hard hitters, right? And in the NFL, they get kind of a bad rap. Like, oh yeah, they just hit hard. They don't actually form tackle. The sign of a hard hitter, and the reason why it's so easy to compare it to the NFL, because there are a lot of different things that cross over. Hard hitters, the guys that are running at full speed, they are that confident. They can play that fast because they know what they're doing. Jason Dominguez out in left field, and I saw it in spring training. And mind you, he's night and day from where he was in spring training. Let me make that very clear. Even though he's in the second percentile defense, he was even worse in spring training. Horrendous. Worst outfield performance I've ever seen in a game. I just don't think he's confident at all. And you were keeping him there because it was a comfortability thing. Well, I don't think he's comfortable there. And so that's why I don't think he's able to get the most out of his athletic profile. And that's what you ultimately end up seeing. So that's really what I think. I mean, I love this stat, and this is why our audience is so great. And shout out to John Boy for actually finding this, because this is, these are the type of things that we try to find. These are the type of things that we try to, share. So this is good stuff right here. It really is.
Yeah, and guys, you could be as athletic as you want to be, but if you can't apply it, doesn't actually matter how fast you are. Hey, I think everyone here can agree with that. You can put Usain Bolt out in center field, but there's a skill to reads and getting out to the gap and knowing who to back up and where to make throws, leaving your feet, when not to, just simple stuff. And Jason Dominguez, could it show up maybe a year or two from now, maybe even going into the offseason, and he says, all right, I'm a left fielder. I'm not moving back to center field. I'm not playing where I was developed. Now, is it a little overdone that Jason Dominguez was moved from center field to left field? Yeah, it is. Because when people talk about Spencer Jones, they say, oh, he's electric in right. He's electric in center and in left field. He's moved all over the place, and he doesn't have a problem. But yet this player very clearly does. So I find it interesting. Obviously, it's not the story today, but obviously that data is good data. So we appreciate you bringing it up. And yeah. Ronnie with the 10, Ronnie, thank you, says, I'm on my plane leaving St. Louis, probably the most boring city I've ever stepped foot in, by the way. Yeah, Jake said punches. Just the other day, he was like, I went to St. Louis. I was like, I don't know why you did that. Says,
no,
I'm glad
it was on
I'm
the
leaving.
way to Kansas. We stopped.
Oh,
there.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
that's my bad.
That wasn't the vacation. Like, yeah.
Okay, cool. So he says, glad I'm leaving on a good note, because obviously Ronnie did attend this series. We'll see if this keeps up. Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm with Ronnie here, is that the takeaway is that the Yankees simply did what they had to do. You have to sweep this series. You have to at least win it. And then when you're here, if you're going to be here, you might as well go sweep them. This Cardinals team they shouldn't be beating you, given their payroll, given their rosters, given how they're performing this year. You should take care of business. And the real test is going to be that Boston series. Now, we're not playing Boston beginning tomorrow or the next day. You have this Tampa series, albeit very short series. You need to take care of business. Tampa's not good either. And we're not going to draw a conclusion about you over these next two games. Volpe will return to the field. We're not going to draw a conclusion about you. Where we will draw a conclusion about you is during that Boston series in New York. That's when everyone's going to say, okay, I thought this about the Yankees, and they ended up being exactly what I said they're going to be. Or there's going to be people in our comments saying, I don't believe they can beat anyone really even good. And they go out, they go back to Yankee Stadium, and they take 3 or 4 from Boston. It cements yourself as being a contender again. And so it's put up or shut up time for the Yankees. All this, we're going to turn it on. That can't happen. All the talk they've done all year, the test is right around the corner. So if they want to say that they're right around the corner, no, the test is.
Yeah, no, of course. And I think that's the big thing here is that, obviously they've had some easier teams. They've taken care of business. They're one of the hottest teams in the AL. That feels weird to say. They've won 7 of the last 10. You take it for what it is, because the Yankees haven't really done that much this year since they got off to that really hot start of winning 8 straight series. But now, the time is now. They sweep St. Louis. They won the series against Minnesota, right? They should have won the series against Houston, but that's neither here nor there. This is a team that there's no more, we're getting there. We really feel like it's under 40 games on the season. There's no more no, you have to do something. Okay, it's put up or shut up time. It's show me, don't tell me. And speaking of St. Louis, I always bring this up. I love the Missouri state motto, show me state, because that's what it is. It's I don't give a rip what anyone in the locker room is saying after games. I just want to see it. If I continue to see these wins, I don't care what they say afterwards. They could say, I don't even care about this game. I only do it for the money. And I'd be like, all right, well, they're winning, so I don't give a rip. But as soon as they're not winning anymore, well, I still don't really care because those are, it's all a bunch of NPC answers and everything.
Yeah,
but
I
you
get
get
your
my
point.
point.
The answers don't really matter. They have to answer those questions, and we don't really care what comes out of their mouth as long as they win.
Yeah.
You can be super cocky as an athlete, and as long as you get it done, right? Fist pumps and all, we'll let it slide. But as soon as you stop performing and you're cocky, now I have a problem. Now
Exactly.
I don't like it. You want to wear your hat sideways? If you want to wear it like you're the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air while you're playing for the Yankees, yeah, I might have a problem with it at first. But if you're going to go hit 320 and go win a batting title and help us win a World Series, I might let it slide. It's all about performance here. Prove it. And so Devon with the 10, we really appreciate the 10. Thank you for doing so.
Thank
Says
you.
Bednar's closing, and I like this super, although I don't necessarily agree that there's any takeaway to be had here. The roles matter. And Devon brings it up here. Bednar is our closer. Devin, okay in a new role. So Rice, Belly, playing every single day. Better defense, less mental errors, working walks, more stealing. Don't know if I necessarily, now in hindsight, agree with the less mental errors. I feel like I still see them. I saw them today from Jazz Chisholm. Doesn't score on a ball off the wall.
Oh, God.
The broadcast, before any of this happened, said, what's interesting about Jazz Chisholm is when he takes off to second base, he actually doesn't peek in and see what happened. He has no idea. How does that happen? So he says more stealing. Jazz did steal 2 bags today. That's a good thing. Consistent lineups.
Yeah, it is.
Credit where it's due. Yes, we're moving more towards consistent lineups. More towards, not there yet, but we have momentum that direction. So I agree with that. But what did you see out there, Jake?
I mean, the Jazz thing was unacceptable because say what you will, and I'm not a fan of Rojas. He's not even looking at Rojas.
Nope.
Rojas is making the read. That's his job.
Yep.
So just look at your coach. That's what he's there for.
You also technically didn't need him because the whole point of peeking in, if you're stealing, whether the ball is put in play or not,
He said he lost it.
He didn't lose anything. He wasn't looking for the ball. So here's the thing. If somebody tells you, hey, let's go play catch, they don't turn around and you don't throw the baseball at them and then they turn and catch the ball. This isn't the NFL draft combine. This is baseball. When you play catch with somebody, they look at you and they say, oh, the ball's coming out of his hand. Oh, this ball's to my chest. I can catch it and then throw it back. Very simple. Jazz Chisholm takes off to second base and decides, just as the broadcast said, before the play ever occurred, wow, it's interesting. He does not pick up the ball. He chooses not to look in and get the information. That's not even bad baseball IQ. That's just poor fundamentals. You're supposed to. So when you're stealing and the ball gets by the catcher, you now have the necessary information to know I don't have to unnecessarily slide into second. I can round second. Maybe I can even advance to third. Basic stuff. That's why you can look at a player. Now, we're not going to pick this apart, but you can look at a player like Paul Goldschmidt and he rockets a ball into the left center gap. If you had just peeked over, you would know exactly. You have all the information you need, and now you can use your skill set to very easily score from first base. Now, it didn't cost us the game, so thankfully. But these are the things the Yankees have to shore up. Just clean it up. And if we can do that, it may be the difference in a Boston series.
No, I agree. You got to have that. To be fair to Jazz, he did have 2 steals today.
Yep.
I like that this is something that I think Boone made this adjustment, so I want to give him credit because it's less station-to-station baseball. And this team, I broke down, it was, 2 weeks ago, I broke down the stats. They're the most station-to-station baseball team in the league. They were number 1 in terms of, first base.
Oh, so that's the thing. So I'm glad you brought this up. When you mentioned station-to-station baseball, I think the narrative is we get to first base, and now I'm just waiting on the home run behind me to hit a 2-run homer. If I walk, now it's a 3-run jack. No, because the Yankees steal bases this year. So they sort of have this impression that they're not station-to-station. But not being station-to-station also could mean I make the right read at first base, and I can score. I score from second base on a hit, right? different ways to advance bases, going first to third, where now you can get to third base with less than 2 outs. But the Yankees seem to do that less. Now, why that's the case, I feel like we have plenty of speed for that not to be the case, Jake. Do you think it's Rojas? What do you think the deal is?
Yeah, I don't know about that. It's more so they were more station to station, and then they started stealing, is what I mean.
Yeah, but again, like that's helpful. That's an aspect of base running, and it's good, right? Jazz stealing 21 bases is objectively better base running than what we had in years past. Like watching a bunch of Gary Sanchez and Luke Voit style hitters and just waiting for something to happen, it just doesn't work, especially when the games matter.
Yeah.
So seeing Jazz steal 21 bags matters. Seeing Jason Dominguez steal 20 plus bags in part-time work matters. But they also need to be a little bit smarter, more aggressive, pay more attention on the bases. I think this group can get a lot better on the bases, and I guess that's a good thing, right? There's some room for growth.
Yeah, and I gotta just tip my cap to Caballero, because when he's on base, he, like I said, and I'll continue to say, he's Dave Roberts for this team. He is going to steal you a playoff game. I'm telling you that right now. His wherewithal, he's always, and that's the thing. Oh, ball gets by. Caballero is already on the move. There's no, I have to, and then react. You ever see that where guys are just like, they like react almost like, I can't believe that just happened, and then they go, no. Caballero's already like there. So I don't know, man. It's something that I've noticed, and I just love the way he plays baseball. And I think he's such a great fit. And the fact that they only had to move Pereira to get him, a guy that was so blocked, he was blocked to the 10th power. Like he was, when was Pereira ever going to get? That's what you want to see. Okay, sorry, we can't get you any at bats. We're going to trade you. And they trade him, and they're able to get a guy like Caballero. So, and I'll go as far as to say this. Like I like Volpe. Okay, I like the home runs. Caballero is a better player than Anthony Volpe right now. He just is. Okay, he's a better base runner. He's a better fielder. He's a better
more
hitter.
Versatility. I mean, let's be clear. This
More
guy
versatility.
can go out. He can flex out to right field.
332 on base to Volpe's 283. I'm not trying to advocate for Volpe not to play, but I am trying to advocate for more Caballero in the lineup, because I think whether you hit him first or hit him last, it doesn't matter where you put him in the lineup. He's going to come through, and he scores runs every single game he plays. So it's a guy that's finding creative ways to score. And when you're always active like that, it really helps when the margin for error is as slim as it seems to always be for the New York Yankees.
Yeah, and having that versatility, the Yankees are going to have that. You're not going to be able to win games just waiting on Aaron Judge to hit home runs. You're just not. You're not going to wait on Ben Rice to go 4 for 5. This is not how baseball's won when it matters. This Boston series, it's coming up, and I don't want to try and look so far ahead, but the Yankees haven't beat the good teams. Yeah. They go out and they'll be fine against the bad teams in baseball, but their habits seem to catch up with them. Well, Caballero is sort of built to alleviate that, right? If you're going to go out there, you want to field your position, he's your guy. You need to throw him out in left field. It's not going to be about where he was developed. It doesn't matter. He's just going to play smart baseball. Izzy with like number 67 says, good evening all. Izzy, thank you for joining us as always. Nice to see you in the live, by the way. See, later show, it does have its perks. Some of our audience who can't watch until after, they can actually make it to the live. So thank you for being here. Obviously, of course, guys, we have over 350 people in here. Make sure you guys like the video. It is greatly appreciated. And Michael McDonald with the 2, also a member here at Yankees Unloaded, says, I've lost hope with Doval. Have you? Now, I don't think Doval has a huge role. This is what I know about him. It could hurt him being out of the closer's role, and you hate to say it to the guy. You're never going to be the closer for this team. You're just not. Not this year. But having said that, the one issue you could ever have with him is his control. Now, he's not pitching to the level that he can, but if his role is what it is, I'm okay with it, and he just has to figure it out. This is the reason why you have guys like Derek Jeter getting on the Fox broadcast saying the hardest thing to do is bring a reliever from another team and have success. new catchers, right? New game plans. They don't know how to work, right? How to call a game for this pitcher, and they have to get reacclimated. Well, I think Doval is in that situation. I think he's going to be just fine. I get it. He's not performing. He deserves, not really criticism, but he deserves to have us read his poor numbers with the Yankees so far. And I think, Jake, I don't know how you feel about this player. I think he's going to be fine.
I do too. I think Doval is somebody that they're very excited about, and he's still raw, but he's still really productive. And I just think he's only going to get better with time. And I think he's definitely only going to get better, when he gets to work with, a guy like Matt Blake. So I'm not worried about Doval. I can deal with an occasional, okay, I can't find the strike zone. What I can't deal with is just throwing cement mixer like
Yes.
Jake Bird. That's what because I can work with you. I can't work with you if all you're doing is throwing meatballs down the plate. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, that slider from Bird, we're obviously not going to spend a ton of time on Bird, but we thought, okay, we see the velocity, you saw the sweeper, like what that can look like, but you also saw what it looks like when it doesn't move. And Doval needs to get back to that cutter. When you throw 100 miles an hour, you need to throw that. There's a reason guys want to throw 100. They're not doing it for their health. It doesn't help them stay healthy. So go out there and utilize that pitch. And I think when he gets back to it, which I think he will, I think he will, and there's not really a ton of arms on this team that we say have a ton of talent and don't put it together long-term with Matt Blake. So I'm not worried about him. And Apex with the super, really appreciate the two. Thank you for that. Obviously a mod here, so thank you for doing so. Said, this time we got Caballero. So Apex thinks that there could be a difference maker here in a series that, if you guys remember, Toronto really handed it to us with fundamentals. They beat us by advancing from first to second and second to third on sac flies out to the left field wall. They just played smarter baseball than us. To Apex's point here, Caballero is a more fundamental player, and maybe he can be a difference maker. Is Caballero going to be on the front page of Fox broadcast in this series? No, absolutely not. But he is part of the solution. So, Jake, what do you think about Caballero? Because what I want to ask you here, does Caballero have a chance to start in this series? Obviously, we would assume Stanton will be ready by that time. We have no idea. Is there anywhere Caballero fits? Is it shortstop? What do you see for this player as far as role, or is he just going to get out there whenever we have a pinch hit situation, pinch run? What do you think?
It's tough, man. They don't believe in hot streaks, and Caballero's looked really good at the plate. He seems really comfortable. I mean, he's putting together good at-bats even if he's getting out. So, but he's still finding himself on base, and he's scoring a run, it feels like, every time he plays. So I just feel like, Boone in some capacity is going to look at him and be like, all right, we got to start playing this player a little bit more. Maybe we start to see, Volpe, because Volpe has been falling back down to earth again. Like, his defense actually has gotten a lot better. The arm is still shot, but we knew that. But
is it bad to say that I would put him in that Boston series if Anthony Volpe doesn't play better baseball in this Tampa series? There's a little short window here.
Yeah.
But he's 3 for his last 22. I pointed that out at the very beginning of the show. If he's still utilizing both of those days off, is not running by that Boston series in New York, I'm going to use Caballero at shortstop. Yeah. I'm not going to hesitate to do that given where we are in the standings. I just think in general, this isn't a let's dunk on Anthony Volpe situation. This is simply me saying that guy's playing really good baseball. Maybe he should play.
No, I totally agree. I think at this point, he's earned a role to at least no longer be the guy that just comes in like he's JC Escarra once every week or once every 2 weeks, right?
That's fair.
So I think it's time to he should be starting twice a week. I think that's fair to say.
Okay. I mean,
Maybe
I don't have
more,
a problem with it. And also, it should matter how the player he's replacing is playing. If Anthony Volpe's playing good baseball, well, I don't need Caballero. Just a week and a half ago, Volpe was slugging, and he was fielding the baseball. The fielding hasn't really been a problem of late, but the bat has. So if he hits, then Caballero's not needed, and then we can bring him off the bench. I don't have a problem with that. But where I have a problem is if Anthony Volpe's not playing good ball, and we go into that Boston series, we don't have any runway. You're talking about we're going to be sub 40 games left in the season. It's just time to play the best players, right? Ben Rice behind the plate. Just simple answers to these questions. So, yeah, I feel like a lot of our audience is interested in what Caballero's doing just simply because he's playing good baseball, and you should reward that. So, I also wanted to talk about this because
love that type of player. It's
they
really
love
that
it.
simple. That is
rightfully so.
Yankee, So, but yeah, what were you gonna say?
So you wanted to discuss this because I saw it out there. I totally forgot about it all day. I mean, I cared much more about Yankees baseball, but Mr. Ketel Marte for the Arizona Diamondbacks, and this is a player that I said I would love to have on the Yankees.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who didn't see the story, Ketel Marte's house was robbed here in Arizona, and he needed a leave of absence, apparently, after this. And I guess the reports are, and I'm not reporting it, but the rumors were that it was rubbing his teammates the wrong way. And it was almost like they were giving him special treatment that the players didn't like. It was almost like if this happened to us or we needed this, you wouldn't give that to us.
Is there OPS 950?
It's exactly my takeaway. Well, if you perform, you do get special treatment. At any of your jobs, and I get it, sometimes major performers and people who do a lot of work at their job, you still kind of get the shaft and your boss screws you over. But more times than not, that one special employee who outperforms the rest of the field, they get special treatment. Well, Ketel Marte is the best player on the team. He and Corbin Carroll. So if it bothers you, then, I don't know, play better baseball. And I'll tell you this. The rumor is that he may be available this offseason. Now, there's some catch here. I believe he's 31 years old. He has a very team-friendly contract. Teams are going to be lining up for the services of Ketel Marte if he's traded. Would you dabble on this? Because I know you love young talent. I mean, so do I. Mm-hmm. But would you be interested in this player if his market, say, does fall back because of this development?
Yeah. No, I'd definitely be interested, and here's why. Okay. Normally, trading for a 31-year-old who will be 32 this October seems like But it's another year, and we just saw Judge get hurt, and this is not a bad contract, Gary. It's just not.
What is that contract?
Well, I'm looking at it right now. It's an average annual value of $19.4 million, and that's one of the better hitters in baseball. Now, is he going to hit like that when he's 37? Probably not. And you have him until he's in 2032. But the point of getting him, right? And I do believe if you got him, this trade would involve Jazz Chisholm. I think Jazz Chisholm goes back to the Diamondbacks. I think he would be the second baseman there. And Perdomo would be there, all that. But I think Dominguez, maybe a pitcher.
Ketel's a great player. I mean, yeah. I know that people are like, oh, I want to acquire this player, but he's 31, and they kind of talk about what's wrong with him. But you pointed out something that's brilliant. Mm-hmm. You mentioned, is he going to perform this way when he's 37? No. Aaron Judge won't perform this way when he's 37. He just won't. I'm here to tell you guys right now, breaking news, Aaron Judge will not be easily the best player in the game at 37. He just won't. That's just not how the human body works, especially in this game. So having said that, Ketel Marte will be 31, 32. You're really trying to win a World Series in the next 2 to 3 years. And if you can't do that, then I don't know, you might as well just pack up shop and sell. But you get the point, is that this player's here, or would be here hypothetically, to help you over the next 2 to 3 years. That's his job.
Yes. And it's $14 million this year, right? It goes up to $15 million next year. Then it's $12 million. It's $12 million in 2027. Then it's $20 million in 2028, $22 in 2029, $22 in 2030. And then it goes down to $11.5 million player option, which he would probably not opt into. So you'd probably have him until he's 36. And Gary, we've seen, hitters can hit. Like, that's the last thing that really goes. And I would have to imagine you're looking at a guy that's probably going to be Ketel Marte until he's 34, maybe a little bit past that. So
is that 3 full seasons? Is that what you would have it?
So you'd be trading for 3 full seasons of a guy that can hover around the 900 OPS range, and that would be your second best hitter in the lineup right now. And you have guys like Bellinger, and you have guys like Stanton, and you have guys like Grisham, right, and Ben Rice, and what he can become. My thing is, I wouldn't want to trade anybody that is a part of the solution, and I think Ben Rice is a part of the solution. Jason Dominguez, I think, is going to become a positionless player, the way it looks. And I think they've kind of told us without telling us that Spencer Jones is probably going to take his spot anyway. And they also really like Trent Grisham. So right now I'm banking on Trent Grisham coming back. So with that said, I think he becomes a trade chip. And then Jazz Chisholm. They have to make a decision. And if they feel like, Jazz, good player, and I love Jazz. But as much as I love Jazz, if he's not going to ascend to that star level that I was saying, then I'm not just going to keep him around because he's Jazz. He also is an expiring contract next year. Not this year, but next year. So,
which could be, technically for the Diamondbacks, could be unattractive because the Diamondbacks, the reports, and I did a little bit more reading on the situation. The Diamondbacks are expected to go backwards as far as payroll. Now, is it helpful to go backwards when a player expires off your team? Yeah, it is. But also you lose that player for nothing unless you give him a qualifying offer, which the Diamondbacks are not going to do. So
I think they would use Jazz as a trade chip. So what they would do is they would acquire Jazz, and then they would evaluate their roster at the deadline and probably trade him. Because think about how valuable he would be at the deadline as a rental bat. And then you go out and you get...
It definitely could.
And this is going to be their model. I mean, they did it with Suarez, right? They're going to do it again. And I think, I think Jazz Chisholm could be in play. And I understand, people will probably bring up my take on Jose Ramirez. Jose Ramirez was never available, so I didn't even really give it a thought. Ketel Marte is the guy that we've always kind of assumed could be available. And by the way, I don't know if you've been paying attention, but when Gary and I say a guy could be available, they become available. I mean, go and look at Clase. They were begging teams to trade for him, and then, of course, everything that happened. And we
can admit, too, when it's wishful thinking.
Yeah, of course.
There are times Stephen on the show you just...
They still tried to trade him right down to the wire, right?
Insane.
So we've mentioned guys in the past, and we mentioned Ketel Marte last year, which of course would have been nice getting out in front of another year and whatever. But no, I think it makes sense because now more than ever you're starting to feel Judge is getting up there, right? He gets hurt. This flexor strain does not mean anything like, oh yeah, he's gonna. No, it doesn't mean anything. I mean, the thing about that is that could lead to a Tommy John, just because it's like, oh yeah, we're ramping up the throwing period. You could put him out there in right field, and he could need Tommy John after a game. You have no idea how that's going to go down, and so I think you gotta kind of strike while the iron's hot. In this winter, yeah, if Ketel Marte is available, I think you got to at least go after him. And I would go as far as to say, you know what? I would rather have him than Kyle Tucker. I think he's a better player.
He's on the infield dirt. There's more value to our team because
I think he's a better player. I don't like the way Kyle Tucker's playing going into his contract year. I don't. I'd rather have Bellinger. And yeah, I think Ketel Marte would be the better option. And so that's my take. But again, I just think the Yankees might have to change their approach here because, again, I wasn't talking like this before, but seeing Judge now banged up again, right? And it's not banged up like I ran into the wall. It's banged up like, oh, yeah, I have elbow stuff going on. That's concerning, Gary.
Non-contact injuries. This is what we're trying to avoid.
Now we're talking like, okay, got to win a World Series ASAP. Because if you don't win one World Series with Judge, everybody that was a part of that faculty and staff is an absolute failure. Like, that is their legacy. They are just a failure. I don't care. I don't care how mean that sounds. I don't care. If you have the greatest player potentially to ever play baseball, because Aaron Judge is doing things that, like, we've never seen before, right? Like, when he's healthy, He was getting better this year, Gary, before the injury.
Yeah, and that also includes Aaron Judge has to play better baseball in October, which you already know.
Of course.
So, but if as an overall group, Judge doesn't put it together in October ever, the Yankees don't put together a team that we believe around Judge is a championship contender, then yeah, it's a failure. So if Ketel Marte's available, you just go get him. Don't tell me about a pitcher who's available. None of it. You just acquire great players when they become available. That's what great teams do. It's how you acquire the talent.
And he won't be
Don't
the only
worry.
one, Gary, because this guy,
Right.
this is why this is bigger news than just Ketel Marte's available, because this is going to cause a domino effect. There's going to be other guys that are available because there's going to be teams that want to compete now. Oh, Ketel Marte is available. Well, we should trade this guy because if he's going to get that, well, what's our 27-year-old second baseman going to do? That's also hitting 880 OPS or whatever. And that's the thing. So that's the winter. We've talked about it. You've talked about it ad nauseum, basically saying, look, the best players get traded in the winter because that's when the market gets crazy. That's when you start to see the giant trade packages. And yeah, I think this Marte deal is not just about Marte. It's about more than that and how active this winter could ultimately be.
Yeah, and James with the 10 says, I disagree, obviously diving back to Doval, and we'll touch on it. Says Doval has no command, and that is true. I'll read the numbers right here. He's pitched 6 2/3 for the Yankees. 5 hits, nothing terrible. 4 earned runs, obviously not great, but here's the catch here that James wants to bring up, and it's valid. He's struck out 8 guys, but he has 5 walks. There's traffic all over the bases, and your job is to be the bridge to our closer. That's what he does. He comes out in the 7th or 8th inning. You need to make this make sense. You need to record outs. And really, innings 7 through 9 is clutch time in today's game. It's not just about the closer. Closer has the hardest role, no doubt. But innings 7 through 9 is all pressure packed, especially in the postseason. And if Doval's going to go out there in the postseason, you can't go out there and walk 5 guys in 6 2/3. He knows that. And this was his problem in San Francisco, so it has to improve. He and Matt Blake need to get together and figure out what the problem is. Is it mechanics? Is it skill? We have no idea, and we're going to learn as time goes on. So obviously, James is saying he's going to hurt us. His mechanics, not his stuff, is the problem. Yeah, I mean, James doesn't have a problem with a 100-mile-an-hour cutter. It's where the cutter goes, and that's the problem. It throws off balance. He will walk 2 and give up a home run. No thanks. So yeah, if the actual control never improves, then he's not a good pitcher. There's not really a ton of pitchers in the history of this game that don't have control of where the ball's going, and they still got quality results. So James, so far I agree with you, but do I agree long-term here as far as the next 40 games of the season? I'm not on that boat yet.
Yeah, no, I'm not out on Doval. Again, I'm going to stick by that. I understand, he does have kind of a funky delivery. But again, I think Matt Blake is going to work on that, and that's not a guy that I'm really worried about. We knew he was going to be wild. That was a big thing, but it's not something that bothers me. But Gary, I think we should talk a little bit about, I almost said tomorrow's game, Tuesday's game.
Yeah, and before we do that, I want to welcome Emma in, because Emma is here from Australia. I want to give her a warm welcome. So Emma, everyone make sure you say hello to her. Thank you for being here. And you want to talk about tomorrow's game? Or not tomorrow's, but I guess Tuesdays?
Yeah. I know. I'm kind of bummed that they have an off day tomorrow. Anyway.
Of course. So,
7:35 Eastern Time, Yankees, Rays. Of course, it's at George Steinbrenner Field. The Yankees are the road, the visiting team. Carlos Rodon going up against Shane Baz. He's kind of a mixed bag. He can miss bats, but he also walks a ton, and he gives up home runs. I think it's a good opportunity for the Yankees. I really like this for the Yankees. They lead the season series, by the way, 3-1 against the Rays. So they've really taken care of business against the Rays this year. ESPN has a 60% chance of winning for the Yankees. That's pretty high. So yeah. I like their chances. Rodon pitched really well last time. Mm-hmm. I expect him to continue. And again, I just think Baz is a really good fit to go up against for the Yankees. I think this offense found something in the Cardinals game. Now the question is are they going to be able to carry that over to Tampa and then back to New York against, when they host the Red Sox? That's the biggest thing for me, because it's like we talked about. Yes, it's great that you are beating up bad teams, but what do you look like against a Boston Red Sox team? What do you look like when you face Toronto again? That is what we're really focused on the most.
Yeah, the key here is Rodon. I think that's the story.
Yeah.
You mentioned he's going to build off the start. He had a quality start last time out. Rough start to the game. Ends up giving us 7 full, big time. But the real problem for him is what's he going to do in 91-degree weather in Tampa? Is he going to keep the ball in the ballpark? If he doesn't do that, it's going to be a long day. But if he can do it, then great. You need to miss bats. And this might be one of those outings where you don't really get length. And you're going to have to go out there and give us, a Blake Snell outing where you get 5 1/3, maybe just 5 full, and you find ways to get outs, because when you're pitching in Tampa, and I don't know if many of you guys have been to Tampa, when it's 91, it is not comfortable in Tampa, Florida. So not easy to pitch at George Steinbrenner. Yankee Stadium dimensions in the heat.
I was hot in, what was it? February, March? It was hot as hell.
It's a tough assignment. So I'm not going to act like if he gives up home runs in this outing, it's the worst thing I've ever seen, but it's the task at hand, and the other pitcher has the same task. So his main problem as an arm in baseball, not just with the Yankees, has been avoiding giving up the homer. He has a tall task on Tuesday. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does. I hope he does well, obviously, and ride some momentum as we move closer to this Boston series in New York. But yeah, to say it's a great test, at least that some consolation here is Tampa's offense is not great. So maybe he can work around it.
Yeah. And as far as Boz goes, not a ton of experience going up against this Yankee lineup. Only 8 at-bats. The most in the lineup was Aaron Judge, and, of course, 375 batting average and 1,200 OPS. Trent Grisham, he's seen him 5 times. Ben Rice 4 times. So, yeah, not really much to take away, except Austin Wells has his number, I guess. It's 3 for 4 against him. And Jazz Chisholm is 3 for 5 against him. So
yeah, not sure I want to see Austin Wells, with all due respect. I know he has the numbers against him, but
that's Austin Wells last year, though. That's a lot different.
I don't think anybody in here wants to see it.
So, yeah, it's a lot different there. Tomorrow, I think they're going to go with I think they'll go with Ben Rice at first base, Austin Wells at catcher. I think second base will be Jazz. It could be Caballero, by the way. I could see that.
Caballero where?
At second for Jazz.
Interesting.
But Shane Baz is a right-handed pitcher, so I don't know. They might go lefty heavy. Probably knowing the Yankees. Okay, so yeah, Caballero probably not in play. So Jazz at second, Volpe at short.
We assume we're getting Dominguez. I mean, Dominguez has 4 hits his last 2 days, so
yeah,
he's getting the day off. He should be playing. We assume Stanton is just not ready to play, so I can't really project him into the lineup if physically we don't have clearance on Judge into the outfield, so Stanton can't just take at bats. They're either going to put him in the outfield or nothing. So it's a bummer. It is, because I would love to see what Giancarlo and his bat are going to do in the heat in Tampa.
Weren't we supposed to be getting Judge in the outfield soon? Like, that was supposed to be like within the next series or so.
Does anyone in our comments, and you guys can drop it in the live chat, I will put it up on screen, what the latest report is on Aaron Judge? Because I'm not going to pretend with this podcast like we have all the information. We would love to learn it. In what the latest is, because I know Judge is working on a throwing program, and that's all great, but your throwing program, we got to get to the end of it. When is the end of it? When's that projected to happen? Because I would love to see Aaron Judge back into the outfield.
John Morosi reported, I think it was August 6th, our guy John Morosi, Aaron Judge could play the outfield as soon as the weekend or early next week. So wouldn't that be like past?
In the past?
Yeah. It feels like Aaron Judge is wrapped up playing catch in the outfield at Busch Stadium. Oh, that's nice. He has been out to 150 feet and continues to improve each time. Boone said he has not yet thrown to bases. There is no indication of a return to right field is necessarily imminent. This seems like a player that they're really just kind of going day by day with. Speaking of day by day, so is Giancarlo Stanton in the outfield. So, yeah, I don't know.
By the way, J Station with the 2, and we'll get to our final 2 supers here, and then we can probably wrap. But J Station wants to know, so thank you for doing that. Says, what is your ideal playoff lineup for the Yankees? And I'm going to just go ahead and tell you guys, and I know maybe this is controversial. Maybe you guys agree with it. I think Trent Grisham is just a better baseball player for the Yankees right now than Jason Dominguez. And I know he had 2 hits today. He had 2 hits the day before that. That's great. But Grisham had 4 hits yesterday as well, right? He can hit, and he can slug. He also can field his position, which is very important in a, J Station says, playoff lineup. I'm putting Trent Grisham in the outfield. Cody Bellinger, Aaron Judge in the outfield, right? I'm looking at DH. It's Giancarlo Stanton, right? As long as he's physically ready to go, he's my DH. Ben Rice is my catcher. And if Paul Goldschmidt can come platoon off the bench against a lefty late in a game, I'll do that. No problem, right? I'm also looking in the infield. I'm still going to say that I could maybe try to get fancy here and say Caballero at shortstop. And I get that some people might want that because they don't think Volpe's the answer long term, and maybe they're not. But I think Volpe is going to start at shortstop. I'm not going to be naive to that fact. He's your shortstop this year. Mm-hmm. And at third base, obviously, McMahon. So, yeah, I think that's my lineup, and Jazz will be your second baseman.
Yeah, I have nothing against that. I think that's exactly what I think is going to happen. When you said Goldschmidt platoon, I was like, oh yeah, they should add Nathaniel Lau. He just signed with the Boston Red Sox.
Love the video you made, by the way. I thought
Thank you.
Told the story, what needed to be said, and we're going to see at some point in this series where Lau comes out and takes an at-bat. Will it be a difference maker? I mean, probably not according to logic, but yeah, I thought there was a fit there. But
the Rangers
not
don't
everything
win the
you
World
see.
Series without him, by the way.
Who?
The Rangers don't win a World Series without him, by the way.
Oh, yeah, no, of course not, right? So we'll see.
It's a little frustrating because that was part of my thing as well. You're ahead of the Red Sox because you're behind the Red Sox, so the reverse standings. No one claimed him, though. He's signing with the Red Sox. This is a new deal. So I thought that was interesting. It only would have been $2.5 million if you claimed him.
Kind of goes to show you how much he's fallen from the graces. I mean, he was actually a good player not too long ago, and that's still the case. And
we know what will happen now that he goes to the Sox.
Not really. I remember everyone's like, "Oh, Jeter Downs is going to be unbelievable going to the Boston Red Sox." I'm like, "No, he's not. He's going to suck." He sucked. He was horrible.
Ended up going to the Yankees. And
right.
I don't know where he went.
It wasn't good. So Donald with the 5. Thank you, Donald, for doing so. Thank you for investing in this channel as always. Says, I feel over the last week specifically, they are no longer going lefty, righty, lefty, righty. I hated that. And I get it. You don't want just a pile of righties, and then they know we can just go to our power right-handed arms at the end of the game, and these guys don't stand a chance. They don't give us a different look. We just pitch everyone the same. 1, 2, 3, 4. They're all out the same way. So the Yankees said, all right, we're going to go away from that. We're going to go lefty, righty, lefty, righty. And I'm glad someone pointed out that they don't seem like they're hell-bent on that mentality, which is good because it tells you if you were really putting the best players on the field, more times than not, you're not going to see lefty, righty, lefty, righty. That's just not how baseball teams are built. So this is a good point to bring out.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point, and it's one of my biggest pet peeves with this team because I just think you're essentially holding back your team because you want that matchup pattern. And I just think essentially I understand where you're coming from. It's not like one of those things where it's like you're doing something and I don't actually understand the reasoning at all. I get the reasoning. But I also think that it's a tale of, once again, overdoing it, right? You're doing too much. And that lefty-righty thing is really, it causes you to essentially ruin, I think, because do you get the best hitter? Think about this, Gary. Can you put the best 9 hitters in your lineup if you have to do that pattern?
Not possible.
There's no way.
I feel like it's like a PlayStation trophy. They're like, congratulations. You did something so arbitrary. You managed to have your 8-hitter be a lefty because the 7-hitter was a righty. So nice job.
It's compromising the integrity of your lineup. And
Yeah, it doesn't help you
You're
win.
self-sabotaging in a sense. So, yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, but nice point to bring out. So
Yeah, I love
thank
that
you for
point.
doing so. And obviously, Donald, this is the first time he's ever joined via live. He usually listens after the fact. So Donald, thank you for being here. Great to have you. I assume obviously you're a subscriber if you found us twice. But Jake, is that it? I mean, we've got a day off tomorrow. We would love to make some content tomorrow. So Jake and I mean, maybe we will if something crazy happens. But usually our off days are packed with a bunch of nothing. And what do we want them to drop? And by the way, guys, before we have you drop it, make sure you subscribe to Yankees Unloaded if you're with us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Drop us a 5-star review, helps us out a ton. And hop over to YouTube. We are less than or roughly 400 subscribers away from 10,000. We greatly appreciate all of you who are already subscribed, of course, and part of the giveaway. So we wish you the best of luck on the giveaway. Jake, what do we want them to drop in this comment section right now?
I would say drop the record you think the Yankees will have in the next 6 games. So the 2 against Tampa and then the 4 against the Red Sox.
Okay. I'm going to say the Yankees are going to split. They're going to lose. I'm going to say they're going to split the Tampa series. So I'm 1-1.
Okay.
I think we're also, I think we're going to win. I'm going to surprise you. I think we're going to take 3 or 4 from Boston.
Damn. I have 4-2, but I don't have 3 out of 4 with Boston. I'll take yours, though.
And people don't have Wyatt saying 3-3, Michael McDonald 3-3, and then you also see Wooly Dingo 1-5. So it tells you the story of what people think about this team against good teams. I'm not going to try and prove any of them wrong. The results are going to be what they are, and we're going to cover it. So this is going to be fun.
Tampa to me is a better version of the Cardinals. Like, they have a similar record, but they have a way better roster. They should probably have a better record than what they have.
I would agree.
So, I don't know. I think that's kind of all like fool's gold in a sense. Like, oh yeah, they're a bottom feeder team. I don't know. I think they're better than 61, 64. But that said, the Red Sox I think are better than their record. And the thing that gets me kind of worried about the Red Sox is that rotation, Gary. I just think you got Bello, you got Giolito pitching well. Crochet has just been an absolute bane of the Yankees' existence.
And we've got Fried slated for that series, so that's going to be.
Oh, and then you know who's in Game 4?
Who?
The incredible Dustin May.
Well, I'm going to say one thing. I'm going to retract my 3 for 4 from Boston. I'm not going to say we're getting swept, because if they get swept, I mean, it's embarrassing as it gets. But I'm going to say they split that Boston series. I'm going to retract. I'm not feeling great about that Max Fried start. I'm just not.
No, I'm not at all.
And it's
I'm
about
hoping
physical.
that we get some news tomorrow.
Yeah, because I want them to go 4-2. That's what I want. And I could see, based on our momentum, we played the Cardinals and the Twins. That doesn't really mean a whole lot. But momentum does matter, regardless of who you're playing. It matters. Confidence, the excitement in the dugout, it's different regardless of who you play. So I think it matters, but is it really going to be the difference maker when you go play Boston? Not really. I think the biggest difference maker, the biggest factor, Jake, is what pitcher are we getting from Rodon and Fried this week? If they look like Rodon and Fried from start 6 and 7 of the year, then we're in great shape. I think we can do enough offensively, especially at home. But if those guys show up and Rodon they're hitting homers off Rodon, he's not keeping the ball in the yard in a hot Tampa day, and Fried comes out and looks like post-blister Max Fried, he's getting shelled against Boston. I hate to say that, but shelled. So a lot's going to be learned here, and I'll tell you right now, if he goes and gets shelled by Boston and then they tell you guys, oh, we're going to send him to the IL, that is just beyond late. Ridiculous.
Yeah. No, I'm hoping we get news tomorrow. I think it's one of those things like where why even invoke panic in anybody when, he's already pitched. You're not going to use that pitcher. You don't need that starter right now. I will say this, for what it's worth, he's lined up perfectly with Max Fried's last start, and that is ERC. He pitched the exact same day Max Fried pitched.
It's right there in front of us.
Right. Anyway, so yes, drop in the comment section, not the chat, but after this, drop in the comment section your record you predict the Yankees to go in the next 6 games. Okay, so again, 2 against the Rays on the road, 4 against the Red Sox at home. I got 4-2. Gary has 3-3. We'll see how it goes.
Subscribe and like this video.